what might be reasons that we aren't assertive? What keeps us from sharing openly and honestly about our needs or our wants in certain situations?
So I think there's a lot that goes into this. I think there are personality types that tend to be more passive just in general, or people who are shy. And so they are going to be less likely to be assertive. I think there are times when we were raised in an environment where being assertive wasn't valued at all. And so we were basically, when we wanted to express how we were thinking or feeling about something, we got shut down, or we were, raised in an oppressive environment. And so maybe that wasn't a freedom that we used. And I just think too that recognizing that being assertive is a learned skill. It's a learned behavior. None of us are born with this capacity, and yet it develops through our life experiences and everything that we've been through that really contribute to our ability to be assertive. But those are a couple reasons why I think somebody would not be assertive.
Totally. I think fear of people's response too, I think, especially if in those environments you're talking about that maybe were oppressive or meaning we weren't given room or space to share our wants and needs. I also think there are times when we do share and we are assertive and it's a negative experience, and so we don't want to recreate that scenario again. But then also I think that being assertive can often create conflict, or for some people has often created conflict. And that fear of conflict and not wanting to be in that discomfort, I think, is a really good deterrent to being assertive.
Yeah, the environments we grew up in, I think, say a lot about this, like you were mentioning, Heather. And I think in a way, religious organizations can fall into this category where we encourage a unity that's maybe a false unity, where keeping the peace, not making waves, not being the sore thumb that sticks out and is complaining about things. So it's like, well, I just won't say anything. Well, I'll just, better to get along than to make an issue of it. And yet we don't realize that it really is creating a false peace. Because very often in those situations, people who are choosing not to be assertive are then going and grumbling or complaining to the wrong people. They're spreading rumors. It's becoming this undercurrent of dissatisfaction because no one was assertive. And so it's like, well, we look unified maybe from the outside, but inside things are actually getting worse. And if we grew up in environments where that was just kind of encouraged, like keep the peace, get along, we might not have seen healthy examples of being assertive, which honestly is somewhat ironic, because when you think about Jesus, in so many ways, he was assertive, and appropriately so, without controlling, without anger, without manipulation. But he said what needed to be said. He spoke the truth. He called people out. He called people to integrity and to honesty and to dealing with their stuff. He even had very harsh words for the other religious leaders. He didn't keep the peace. He was here to create peace. And I think that's part of what assertiveness helps us think through, is the difference between keeping peace or creating peace. That in keeping peace, we choose not to be assertive. But if we want to truly create peace, assertiveness may be required.